Okay, we're going to do a general overview of home and community-based waiver services in Alaska. This is the definition of what a home and community-based waiver does, and specifically from the state of Alaska, allows people who would otherwise need an institutional level of care to live in their home and community and receive the care they need. So generally when someone applies for the waiver, they're put on the wait list. I'm currently uncertain of the current number of Alaskans on the wait list. I believe it kind of remains the same at like an 800 or 900 number. Factually, 50 names are drawn each quarter, and the names are drawn based on need. So, so what I think happens is new people apply and 50 names are drawn, so you really don't see a big fluctuation. And the last time I asked was about a year ago and got the 800 to 900 people, so that's what I'm going with. It used to be much higher. They used to draw less names, excuse me, and it used to be in the 1,500 area, 1,500 people on the wait list back in the 90s when I was working for one of the nonprofit agencies. So, so it has come down, and the goal is to, keep it going down. And a lot of times at Key Campaign, no more wait list is one of the things that you hear a lot. So. And my recommendation is to apply if you're eligible. Services may not be needed now, but there will be a time. And people can remain on the wait list for years. And
we've been on the wait list for 13.
Yeah,
13 years.
And that's a really good, perfect example. 13 years on the wait list, and it's probably because everything is pretty. Simple, you don't really, you manage it all, and you just kind of, but there will be a time, I think, with transitioning or something will indicate, yeah, so stay on the wait list, and when you need it, it'll be there, and as things in your family, change, and individually things change, this will be critical. So the eligibility criteria, I don't know, okay, sorry. Oops. Technical difficulties, sorry. Okay, well, I'm just going to talk over it here. Sorry, it's not very pretty. So the division, why can't I? Okay, so there's the financial component where the individual must be financially, have low income. So the Division of Public Assistance Medicaid is who oversees and identifies the eligibility. And when we talk about low income, we're actually talking about the individual's income, not the family members, not the, this is only based on the individual. And they can't have, I want to say $3,000 over in any account. Is it 2? So last night I saw 3. So 2,000 and then is it 1,000 in a open ongoing account, something? Yeah. So anyway, they have to qualify, and there are numbers that that they can't go over. And there are ways around the low income if, you know, in the case of many individuals, they have a trust fund or something, and that doesn't apply to this income specified here. And then the DS, Division of Senior and Disability Service, must be assessed as needing an institutional or nursing home level of care. And we'll talk about how they go about doing that. There are 4 types of waivers. There's also an FASD waiver. That's not one of the ones that we'll be talking about today. It has an aging out factor, and I don't know that much about it. So the 4 that I do know about are the first, older Alaskans waiver, must be 65 years of age and need a nursing home level of care. And again, we'll talk about the tools, the assessment tools that identify the way that the state and identifies who meets the level of care. So that's the first waiver. Adults with physical disabilities waiver must be 21 to 64 years of age and meet a nursing home level of care. CCMC, or children with complex medical conditions, must be under the age of 21 years of age and meet nursing home level of care. And the MRDD is really the one that has the most criteria, and that's a diagnosis of mental retardation, cerebral palsy, epilepsy, or other related disability, and the other related disability is, it can be one of several, I think, based on what they're looking for criteria. It must be a lasting condition with the onset prior to age 22, so medical documentation and diagnosis prior to age 22. Result in substantial limitations in 3 to 7 life skill areas. Requires ongoing specialized interdisciplinary services that are individually planned and coordinated active treatment services. So really, the waiver provides a lot of services that we'll talk about today, and they would really need to have that need of supported employment or.
So right, if they're in school, the IEP would be that's the IEP, right?
Mm-hmm.
Specialized services individually planned.
Yep. It could be. I mean, there's a lot of kids that are in school who are on the waiver who get like services in addition, right? So I don't think that it really replaces it, because there is, and we'll talk about the type of services that come with it, and you know, in-home supports or day have, those kind of things are things that would be in addition. So really, the need for additional help, basically, you know, in regards to, I mean, even in the case of a family, if they're not able to, you know, stand by and do job coaching for supported employment, or transportation is an issue, all of those things come into that. Okay,
Jenny,
yes.
What are the life skill areas?
The life skill areas are based I believe, on the ICAP, and we'll talk a little bit about that. The motor skills and the, we'll talk about it, we'll get there, because I have them listed. Okay, thanks. And then the ICAP ceiling score is not to exceed 514, and we'll talk about the ICAP as well. So, so here are the functional assessment tools. The ICAP is used for the MRDD waiver, and the frequency of the ICAP happens for MRDD, I believe, every 3 years. And it looks at the functioning of motor skills, social and communication skills, personal living skills, community living skills, and behaviors. So Christine, those are kind of the categories that they're looking at for that 3 out of 7. Specifically, I would have to go back and see if there's more specific for the 3 out of 7 and what they look at, and I can get back to you on that. But these areas on either side are what they're looking for. So basically, for the ICAP, DSDS provides somebody to come out to your home, and they generally meet with 3 individuals that are identified as being close to the individual. And they'll come out, they'll contact you if you're guardian. If an individual is the guardian, then they contact them and they decide who is going to be interviewed. And in the case of the ICAP, it really kind of goes against, the strength-based visions. So you really have to think pretty much on a deficit base to for the purpose of scoring. There's different. They literally start at like an infantile base where can they put a block in a square hole, and it'll go through and gradually go into more specific skills. There's not a lot on behaviors on the ICAP. It's generally just an added, do they have behaviors, and what are they? There's a question that says, can they count money? Well, they really want to know if they can identify the difference between a penny, a nickel, a dime, a quarter. And then, if they were to go to, say, Walmart and pay for something, if they knew they were getting the correct change back. So you really have to think more on a deficit base when you're working with the ICAP evaluator, because we all, we focus on strengths in our children, and this tool is really based on what they can't do, and you want to get, you want to see things lower so that you qualify.